Hey there, Cutieincosplay here with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing off my collection of controllers that are not the standard for certain systems. So, I'm not going to be showing you a PS2 controller or an Xbox controller, because everybody's got those, everybody uses those, whatever. So, let's get into it. To start off, I have my mobile controllers. So a few years ago, I was really into mobile gaming, especially when Wild Rift and Dead by Daylight had come to mobile. Just having those games on the go and just being able to experience them in a different way was great. I really enjoyed it, so I got a bunch of controllers to make them feel better to play, because I do enjoy tapping the screen to push on-screen buttons. But I just never liked moving around with a virtual joystick, so I just grabbed a few that helped me bridge that gap between mobile gaming and controller gaming, and I thought they worked really well. Next up, I've got the Sega Saturn 3D control pad. I always liked using this controller because it felt pretty close to a Dreamcast controller, and I really enjoy those, so I do wish that Sega had used this D-pad for all of their Dreamcast controllers because it feels pretty nice. So next up is the Dreamcast, and I did break my rule a little bit here because these are just regular Dreamcast controllers that I'm showing off, but I like the colors, so I'm just tossing them in because I love the Dreamcast. Anyway, I also have the Quantum Fight Pad. Let me just say that this is a horrible controller, unfortunately. I got it for Marvel vs. Capcom because it has 6 face buttons, but the D-pad and the stick just feel hard and slippery, and the triggers feel bad. It's just not a good time. Then I have a mouse and keyboard for the Dreamcast. I tried this out once for Unreal Tournament, and while it can be fun, I just prefer to play shooters with a controller. So, this mouse did come in handy though when I played Stupid Invaders. Turns out it works amazing for point-and-click games. I also have my arcade stick for the Dreamcast. I'm not really much of a stick player, but the Dreamcast just has so many arcade games that this controller just really makes me feel like I'm at the arcade, and it's really nice to use it for all those beat-em-ups and shoot-em-ups. And then of course I have my little fishing controller. This cute little guy, probably the only reason I'd play a fishing game. Next up for the GameCube, I have my little link cable, and you may be thinking, wait, that's not a controller.
Well, you're wrong.
If you plug in that little cable into a Game Boy Advance, you get a GameCube controller, surprisingly. I only had 3 games that used Game Boys as controllers, and those games were Zelda 4 Swords, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and Pac-Man Vs., which were all really fun games to play in multiplayer. For PlayStation 1, I have this little Mad Catz controller with the cute little paw and angry claw marks. Just for some reason, I really loved Mad Catz controllers. I bet that honestly it's probably because of the name, but for whatever reason, if I saw that controller, I wanted it. For PlayStation 2, here we go again. I've got another Mad Catz controller. And then I also have these Street Fighter Fight Pad controllers. They have these pretty neat boxes that they came in. And I am missing Akuma, so unfortunately, I don't know where he is, but only Ryu is here. And they have these really cool, on the front, I forget what you call it, but when you move, the image changes. I like those. And it's got that on the front. Really cool. So for PlayStation 3, surprise, surprise, another Mad Catz controller. Then I also have the Logitech controller, which has a really nice D-pad on it. I kind of like that controller. Then I have a Blaze Blue Fight Pad. It's pretty neat that it's a Blaze Blue version, but there's really nothing that special about it besides that. Then I also have a WWE Fight Pad. I found this guy at GameStop for $20, and I ended up buying it because I wanted a fight pad for Street Fighter X Tekken and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So here we are. Hulk Hogan. I have the Mayflash arcade stick. There was a time at one point where I was hyped to learn how to play on a fight stick and just like be a total boss at fighting games, and that just didn't go too well. So, but you know, all in all, it's fun to use, but I really just prefer to use a D-pad for fighting games. So, for PlayStation 4, can you guess what I have? You're right, another Mad Catz. This time it is a fight pad for Street Fighter V though, so a little bit different, a little bit special. This controller is really good and I love the D-pad, but unfortunately it did break after a few months, so I don't know how built to last they are, but I like them, I like the name, and I did like this controller. Alright, so now for the Xbox. I am sad to say that unfortunately I never owned the Duke, but anyway, controllers I do have. I had pretty horrible luck with Xbox controllers. They just always seemed to break on me, and I swear I wasn't mistreating them. But anyway, I just could never really find like original ones for cheap, so I just always went third party for Xbox. I don't really have much to say about these guys, but I do kind of like how the orange one looks. Kind of cool. So for the Wii, I have the Nyko Nunchuck. There was a time at one point where I was considering getting those like Nyko Wiimotes, but I had enough for multiplayer, so just didn't need it. But what I didn't have enough of were the Wii Nunchucks, so I got this Nyko brand because it was cheaper. And let me tell you, that was a big mistake. The reason I got it was for co-op for a game called Tales of Symphonia 2, and it just didn't work out at all. Why? That is because these nunchucks don't have motion controls, and that game required motion controls for the nunchucks, so never buying another Nyko controller again after that. Just, I don't know, what a rip. Disappointing. So next up is Wii U, and actually these controllers are pretty unique because it's something that I made. I don't really know why, but when I was younger I opened up my white and black Wii U Pro controllers and I just swapped all the buttons and sticks to make these cool black and white combo controllers. I was always pretty proud of them, and whenever a friend would ask where I got them, I would say that they were Japanese exclusive controllers just so I could feel cool. Next up is Switch. I have the little Pokeball controller. It's really fun to use when you're playing Let's Go Eevee or Let's Go Pikachu. You just relax and play Pokemon with one hand. It fits really nicely in your hand, and I like clicking the stick and moving it around. I don't know, it's fun. Then I have a Smash controller. There's really nothing too special about this one, but I love it because I love Smash, and it reminds me of when I made those Wii U controllers because of the black and white. Then I have the Power A Fight Pad. This is the controller that I would use for any like fighting or beat 'em ups on the Switch. Which is something that's also kind of cool is that you can swap the colors for the front of the controller with like other color plates. It's pretty neat. Then I have the 8-Bit Do, or 8-Bit Do, I don't know how to say this brand name, but the 8-Bit whatever Genesis controller. I use this controller to play Genesis or Sega eShop games on the Switch. And lastly, I have the Pokken controller. It's mainly for Pokken Tournament. I really don't think it's that great of a controller because the plastic kind of makes my hand hurt most of the time, so And last up is going to be my controllers that I used for PC. I have the 8-Bit Do, I'm gonna call it, NES controller. I tried to use this as a PC controller and just didn't really end up that great. It's just too small and flat to really feel good. Then I have my Steam controller. I really did try to love this controller, but it just kind of feels weird to aim with, and I still do use it sometimes when I want to control my PC from the couch though, so not a total loss. And finally, I have my 8-Bit Do Pro 2. This controller and an Xbox One controller are the controllers that I prefer to use on PC if I was going to use one. which I do most of the time. But yeah, sometimes I will use this particular one for Switch when I'm playing like 8-player Smash and I need more controllers. I'll just throw that one in, and he works great. So yeah, that is my controller collection that are not the standard controllers, just a little extra, maybe third-party, whatever controllers that I use for different systems. Let me know if you had any of these and used any, or ones that you had that you didn't like, just anything like that. Love to hear all your comments and read them and respond to them. It's always a good time. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!